Hey guys, so this is the video for the tutorial to making soot sprites. So this is the soot sprite that I ended up making. So soot sprites are actually in two movies that were from Studio Ghibli, so Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro. In the movie My Spirited Away, they are fed like these little star candies, so which is why you've got these little stars on here. So let's go ahead and get into making this little soot sprite. We'll go through what's in your kit, and then we'll go ahead and make one. So let's get to it. Oh, that would have been a little tragic and funny at the same time. All right. So guys, we're going to go through what is in your kit, and then we're going to go ahead and then get started after that. So the first thing you're going to get is you've got a little piece of cardboard, and then you're going to have a piece of paper with the stencil on it. You're going to have a skein of black yarn, 2 pipe cleaners. You're going to have one of these carabiners for the end of your project. You're going to get a length of this black wire. And in this little cup here, you're going to have 6 of these little colorful stars, and then you're going to have 2 self-adhesive Google eyes. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut out your stencil. Now, because this needs to be a pom-pom that's tightly woven, I do suggest that after you cut out your stencil, that you make this inside hole just a little bit bigger. So how tightly packed you make your pom-pom is dependent on the size of the inner hole. So right now, this is how much yarn you'd be able to put through that hole. Now, if you make it a little slightly bigger, that means you can wrap more yarn around it, and means that your pom-pom will be tightly woven, or just a little bit more of the yarn in it. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to take just a little bit more and make this hole just slightly bigger. So I'm just going to speed up the video right now. I'm going to cut out my stencil, trace it onto the cardboard, and then cut out 2 pieces. Now remember, you need 2 pieces. So don't put your stencil in the center. Put it to one side and then put it to the other side, and we'll make sure that the cardboard is big enough for you to make 2 of these stencils. So let's speed up the video. So before we start wrapping the yarn around our little half donuts here, you're going to want to grab a length of the yarn that's about 10 inches or so. It doesn't have to be exact. So what you're actually going to do is this is what you're going to use to tie the pom-pom all together when you're finished. So you need to put this little bit of yarn in between these 2 pieces, just like that. And then you're just going to put this one on top of it. Now, if you've got it at home, I mean, you can totally do this. If you got like a little piece of Scotch tape, you can put it on there. I might do that just so that it doesn't slip around as much. So I'm just going to put one here. It's not a necessary step, but if you don't use Scotch tape, you just be careful not to accidentally pull this little bit out. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that in there so I don't drive myself crazy. And then I'm just going to put my other half a donut on there, and I'm just sandwiching this little bit of yarn inside the donut. Now the next step is really easy. You're just going to take your yarn and you are going to continuously wrap it around your donut until you pretty much can't put any more yarn in here. And that is why we put this little half donut here, because you are going to do this. And you're just going to keep doing this until your donut is pretty much full of yarn. So I'm going to speed up the video again. Okay, so that's as far as I'm gonna go. You can kind of see this got fairly thick, so there's quite a lot of yarn on here. So the next part you're going to want to do is, because the legs and the arms, which are the pipe cleaners, and then the wire that's going to hold the whole thing together, that all has to go through the center of your pom-pom. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to set the cardboard and the yarn to the side. And I'm going to leave this attached because we're going to use a little bit of length here to secure the pipe cleaners. Because if you just put those in there, you know, you can accidentally rip one of the arms out. So we're going to put this in a way that it's going to stay secure into the center so that the arms and legs don't come back out of your pom-pom. So let's just set this over here. So I've kind of thought long and hard about how exactly I am going to secure these so that they don't come back out. One of the ideas that I had, I'm just going to give it a go and make sure that it actually works, is I'm going to take these pipe cleaners, cross them. I'm going to bend this one over this one over that one. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use this length that's still sticking out, and I'm actually going to tie these together with the length here so that it actually stays really secure in the center. So I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to put my pipe cleaners in through the center so that you got two sticking out on each side, and I am going to kind of go back a little bit with this. And then I'm going to wrap this around one of these pipe cleaners. I'm going to go back the other way. And then I'm going to go back through the center again. And then when I get sort of over to this other side, I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Is I'm going to go through this one up here. I'm going to switch directions. I'm going to go back through just a few times. I just want to make sure that these pipe cleaners do not come out. Okay, so I've got, this is fairly secure. I mean, he's not really moving. You see, I'm just going to give him a tug. They're not really moving anywhere. And so that seems to have anchored that in there fairly well. Now we're still not done yet. We still want to do one other bit before we start cutting this up. So we're going to set this whole thing aside. Now your next step is we want the wire that's going to go through the little carabiner. Oh, I got something stuck to it. So the wire is going to end up going through the center of this, and then the beads with all the little stars are going to actually go through the wire. So if you've ever watched Spirited Away, the little soot sprite eat these little star candies, and that's what these are sort of for. So these are actually going to go through the wire. The wire is going to get wrapped into a loop, and it's going to go through the center of your soot sprite. So we want to take our wire. Now this is the part where you won't need to do this because I'm going to cut these off for you. I just want to make sure that there's going to be enough length here. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. So I'm going to give myself a little extra. You might get a little less than this if I find that I've cut too much. Okay. So we want our stars to go through the wire. So you can decide what order you want them to go through. I think I might just go with the rainbow. So I've got yellow, orange, red, green, blue, and purple. So that's the order that I'm going to go in. So I'm just going to put these on really fast. And then I'm going to take the two ends, loop them through the pom-pom. And I'm going to secure it in the center. So just carefully hold everything together as best you can. Put the wire through your pom-pom, and then loop it back around, like so. Make sure you've given yourself enough length for this to come off the top. And I'm actually going to give myself quite a bit of length here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to start twisting it. So that looks like a really good length. And to make it a little easier, I'm just going to bring it out here and twist it really quick. Alright. Okay. Now you don't want to do this too many times because as many twists as you make, that's as big as this little piece of wire is going to be in the center of your pom-pom. You don't want any cable sticking out because, you know, what would you think would happen if you accidentally sat on your pom-pom? You're going to get a wire through your tush. So let's go and cut off the excess. Now these wires are cutting really easy with the scissors. Please, 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 please do not use your mom's good pair of scissors. It does ruin them over time. And there's no punishment worse than when you screw up somebody's good pair of scissors in a household. At least not in my household growing up. You did not screw around with mom's scissors. She'll kill you. Okay, so we've got the arms and the legs. We've got the wire in the center of our pom-pom. We've got the stars onto the beads. So this is when we go ahead and bring these two out as best you can. I know that there's some tape in there because I wanted them secured. Okay, and then you're going to bring it into the center just like that. So I pulled these through, and this is actually going to get tied into a knot after I've cut all of this yarn. So as best you can with all this stuff hanging off, this isn't your traditional way of making a pom-pom. You want to start cutting the yarn along the ridge. So I'm just going to take my scissors and very carefully, while keeping all of this together and secured, try not to let any of it slip, I'm just going to start cutting. So I'm putting my scissors in between the two pieces of cardboard as best I can. So I've got my scissor in there, and I'm just going to slowly start cutting the yarn as best you can. right, so now we have the yarn completely cut around our piece of cardboard. I managed to keep the wire and the pipe cleaners in there, so that's good. So I have to find the two pieces that went through the center. And since I got them taped down, that should be pretty easy to find it. Oh, it's slipped inside. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so this will be interesting. I gotta find that. There it is. So I found this piece is right here. Where'd you go? Okay, there's that piece. And then here is this piece. So, all right, now what you need to do is with everything in there, with the pipe cleaners and all that, you need to tie this as tight as you can. So go ahead and pull your wire a little bit and pull this as tight as you can without letting go like I almost did. All right, so now you've got all of your little bits going through. And like that, I just accidentally pulled one out, so I'm just gonna stuff him back in there. And you tie this off as tight as you can. Okay, so I'm just gonna tie it real tight. Okay, and then I'm going to go again. And yeah, I know it's a pain. We've got all these pipe cleaners and we've got wires going through this thing. It's a little bit of a pain. Okay, now we've got all that in there, and the next thing to do is just to get the cardboard off as best you can. So you can slip it. There we go. Bend it a little bit. There's one. And now we get the other piece of cardboard off. Just bend it a little bit and just slide the whole thing apart. Okay, so we now have our little pom-pom. We've got the wire with the little beads going into the center. All right, so I'm going to get that into there, and I'm going to just pinch this off just a little bit. I want this to be sort of like that. So we've got our pipe cleaners, we've got our wire. All right, now the next part is the tricky part. Is things like to slip around. You see this little guy, he's slipping a bit. So get this back in here. Okay. You can pull some of this through this wire. And I'm going to start twisting the wire just a little bit, because I want this to be secured. So I'm just twisting it a little bit. Just twisting the little palm. Okay. So now we have all of our little beads. We've got our wire going through, and just because I can, I'm going to take one bead, put it towards the bottom, and give a twist. Then I'm going to move the blue down here, and I'm going to give it another twist. Then the green, and give it another twist. And over here, give that a twist, and then we've got the red, and then we've got the orange, and the yellow up at the top. There we go. Oh, we forgot to twist right here. Just twist this one. Put the red down here. There we go. So we've got this. So you see how those are sticking out like that. And then we've got the arms and the legs. All right. So we've got our little palm. We've got our little pipe cleaners, and then of course we've got a little extra hanging out here. What we'll end up doing is taking a pair of scissors and sort of cutting this, making it look a little bit more round, a little bit more even. And so I'm just pulling some of this through this wire to try to even out this. So we've got these guys in the back, and I'm thinking that this side is sort of the better looking side of the pom-pom, which is where I'm going to end up putting the eyes. So I've got my little carabiner, and we're going to put this on really fast. You can see where this is going. So this is going to end up hanging just like that. And so let's get our scissors, and I'm going to just start cutting, giving this guy a bit of a haircut. Don't cut your pipe cleaners. Those are the arms and legs. We want those to stay. But any pieces of yarn that seem to be just a little longer than the rest, go ahead and trim it down just a tiny bit. Okay. Okay, and got a little long piece here. Okay. We got a few pieces down here on the undercarriage that are a little long. Just going to trim those back. Okay. Now the arms and the legs are a tiny bit too long. I am going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim maybe an inch or so off of these, and I might give them a bend to the direction that I want. So let's just take a look at this guy. He's starting to look kind of cute. I'm going to get him some arms and cut this down just a little bit. Okay, just a tiny bit off of here. And then I'm just going to bend these a tiny bit, kind of make them look like they're doing something. So I've got the little bend in their arms and legs, so I just sort of bent them a little bit. Now the next part is getting the Google eyes on. So I think that the eyes are going to end up going right about here. So these are self-adhesive. You just got to carefully peel the back. If you have it available, I do encourage, if you've got any kind of glue, Elmer's, hot glue, fabric glue. If you have glue left over from any previous projects that we've worked on, you know, that is totally fine. Go ahead and use those. I don't want the eyes to be totally in the center. I'm going to offset them up a little high, and I'm just going to squeeze them onto some of the yarn, because I want them to stick. Okay, so there's one eye, and then I'm going to go ahead and put on another one. Maybe if I can get the adhesive off. There we go. I'm just going to look and see where these eyes are. I'm going to put this one on here. I'm just going to squish them in a little bit. Press them into the yarn. Alright. Well, there's my little soot sprite. So we've got the carbiner here. You can hang it off of your backpack, or you can just hang it in your room. You can do whatever you want with it. There's obviously plenty of yarn left over. If you want to do anything with that yarn, you are welcome to do it. So that's yours to keep. But here is my little soot sprite. Oh my gosh, she's super adorable. So I had fun doing this. I hope you had fun too, and we'll see you on our next project. Okay guys, bye. This guy's adorable.